Hey, what's going on, everyone? Gillis TV back here with some more Edmonton Oilers news/talk. And today we got a couple key things to go over the last day or so here about the Edmonton Oilers. But if you're new to the channel and like anything Oilers related or any other team, we try to cover every team from news, trades, rumors, whatever it is. We'll have it covered here on the channel for you. We are 145 away from our goal of 1,000 subscribers. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into this. It was said yesterday by some insiders that teams are asking for a first and second round pick for Cody Ceci or Brett Kulak to take them off the Oilers' hands. Teams know that they are in need to get these guys off the books if they're going to match offer sheets from St. Louis. We'll get into more of the offer sheets in a bit here. I just don't see the Oilers doing a first-round pick to get any of these guys off the books, knowing that we might not have a 2025 or 2026 first-round pick. The pick we traded to get back our 2024 pick in the trade at the draft to get a prospect. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. So it was basically the Oilers had to pick by next draft if it's going to be a 2025-2026. So we are down one first-round pick already. I don't see them moving the first-round pick. A second-round pick, maybe if you can do it right, you could give up a second. The only problem with that is now, depending on what first you're giving up, you want to give up the next or the year before second, depending on where the first lands. And looking back at players who got traded with picks to just shred the salary, you look at Patrick Marleau from Toronto to Carolina. Toronto sent them a first. Sean Monahan to Montreal? Yeah, Montreal for had a first, but those contracts were $6+ million. We're talking either 2.75 or 3.25. Those aren't worth a first round pick going to retain that salary. You're better off just trying to figure out a whole trade in the works for that. So a second round pick is a little high for me. I would say minimum or maximum height of a pick would be a third pick, but that's just me. We'll see where that goes. Now, it's rumored that Kane's going to be out for several months. Now, there is ways if you accept both matching offers or qualifying offers for RRFAs that, yes, if Kane goes to LTIR, that pays for Philip Broberg. You have just shy of $1 million left in the bank. You only realistically have to trade Brett Kulak or Cody Ceci at that point. You don't need to trade both. If we're thinking about future, I know a lot of fans are thinking about the Leon Draisaitl contract, and then McDavid, then Bouchard, then Stuart Skinner. I get that. Salary cap will go up as well. But to make it all worthwhile, as much as it hates me to say this, I think Brett Kulak is the way to go to get for a trade. Now, you might say, well, Ceci has a higher cap hit. That is true. Ceci does have a higher cap hit. But if we're waiting for Evander Kane to come back, we got to keep one of these defensemen. I'm sorry, I don't trust Troy Stecher or Josh Brown to fill out that bottom two if we trade both. Or bottom third pairing if we trade both. That doesn't make sense in my head right now that you would trade both at one time. The reason I'm saying Brett Kulak is for the future as well. That actually makes it so we don't have him on the books next year. Gives us a little bit more playing money, and Cody Ceci's off the books by next season anyway. Brett Kulak may be the one that would be better off for, like I said, the Leon Draisaitl deal or making salary cap room at free agency next year. It's just the matter of money going into next year is the problem with me for Brett Kulak. Now, of course, depending on what the team needs. Brett Kulak's a left-handed defenseman. Cody Ceci's a right-handed defenseman. That's going to look into the works there as well. So, if the Oilers do match these offers, you have two trade candidates, you have LTIR. Now, you might ask, well, what if when Kane's ready and it's not playoff time and he comes back early? Well, then we got a little messy situation on our hands. That's where you might need to trade the other one of the two names I just said between Kulak and Ceci. Or, you never know. If Kane comes back in February, okay, just roll with me for this. Comes back in February, then we might have other injuries where they are on LTIR or can't do things. What happens if, say, Troy Stetcher breaks his other ankle? That's a possibility of cap, right? There is a lot of unknowns when Kane comes back that might actually work in the favor of the Edmonton Oilers, where if a guy is banged up and can't go and he's on LTIR, that kind of helps us a little bit more. So there are other options when Kane gets back that the Oilers can right now physically and mathematically trade one of Kulak or Ceci, put Evander Kane on LTIR, you're under the cap at that time. Now, I've heard San Jose's kind of been rumored in the mix for Cody Ceci. I don't see why a team wouldn't want Brett Kulak. He does have great passing. He's a passing defenseman. They could really use him. So we'll see where this goes for the Edmonton Oilers. I know I'm just rambling on here, but that's pretty much the best case scenario is match the offer sheets, trade Cody Ceci or Brett Kulak, use Stretcher, Brown, look at free agency like Dolan TV and the Oilers Fanatic have been saying. You could possibly try and snag someone for really cheap in there. Or you use Troy Stetcher, who's played in the NHL for most of his career, has been a solid third-line defenseman for a lot of other teams and playing with horrible teams at that fact. Or you try Josh Brown out, a tall defensive defenseman, big, physical, on your third line for whoever you trade. So there's a lot of scenarios in this situation for the Edmonton Oilers, but we need to know if they're matching the offer or what. That's still undecided, which we kind of need to know pretty soon. I think Tuesday's the deadline for that. And now, if you only match one, the one that kind of leaves a easier target to fill is Dylan Holloway. If you don't match Dylan Holloway, you do have Matthew Savoy. You have James Hamblin. You got Raphael Lavoie. You got guys in the AHL system that could easily fill a third or fourth line role with the Edmonton Oilers where Dylan Holloway would be. Now, on the other hand, yes, the price tag for Philip Broberg's quite high. Don't get me wrong, it is quite high. The only problem with that, we don't have many prospect defensemen coming up. Yes, we got Bo Akey. I don't think he's NHL ready. We would have to be using Brown or Stretcher on that third line still, which ultimately, like I said before, that's probably what's going to happen if you trade Cody Ceci and or Brett Kulak. One of those guys are going to play. You might as well keep the Broberg Darnell Nurse line and just keep Ceci on the bottom pairing because we've all seen what Ceci and Nurse's deep pairing's like, and it's a roller coaster and a half for the Edmonton Oilers. A lot of ups and downs and loops and whatever you want to call it. That pairing is game time decision when it comes to how they're going to play. So I know I'm rambling on. I know I probably overlapped myself. It's been a long day. I worked a lot of hours yesterday. But that's kind of where we sit right now until more news comes out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Gillis TV. Have a good one.